The Reg Weaver Award is presented to a nominee whose activities around closing the poverty gaps for children in America and around the world have made a significant impact in helping poor students and eliminating poverty. This year's recipient is from New Jersey.
Hi, I'm Wendell Steinhauer, president of the New Jersey Education Association. Many of us read about the terrible things in the world and think, I wish there was something I could do to help. But not Evan. He goes out and does something about it. He's saving the lives of African children and inspiring all the American children he teaches as well. He is Evan Robbins.
In America, most young children attend school. They play with their friends. Their laughter is the soundtrack of our lives. But that is not always the case in other countries. It was reading a newspaper article about child slave trafficking in Ghana, a poverty-stricken country in Africa, that forever changed the course of high school social studies teacher Evan Robbins. He read about children as young as 4 years old being forced to work long hours every day on fishing boats, eating one meal a day, sleeping on mud floors. Evan knew he had to act.
He made the deal to rescue 30 children. And then when he goes back to actually get the children and free them, the fishermen changed their mind.
So, working with his students at Metuchen High School in New Jersey, he began to raise money to rescue and rehabilitate these enslaved children. He formed a nonprofit organization which his students named Breaking the Chain Through Education. And in just 4 years, working with the International Organization for Migration, they had raised enough money to rescue 10 children. In 2010, Evan traveled to Ghana to participate in a rescue mission and meet some of the children he and his students had rescued in the past.
We're sitting Ghanaian style, 3 or 4 to a desk, with our friend Kwame. Hello, Kwame.
Hello. While there, he saw that some of the villages didn't have schools, so he came up with an ambitious plan. Evan offered to build a new school in the village of Awate Tornu in exchange for freeing the 19 trafficked children who worked there. The village accepted his offer. Fortunately, back home, the news had spread about breaking the chain through education. Evan and his students give presentations regularly, and the group now had hundreds of engaged student members in 8 other schools in New Jersey and New York. If they were going to free those 19 children in Awate Tornu, they had to raise enough money to build the village a school. It was a tall order, but Evan and his dedicated students were determined to succeed.
It's been a pretty amazing journey, and it wouldn't be possible without all these kids behind me, so thank you so much.
By the fall of 2012, a school big enough for 240 students was up and running in Awate Tornu, and Evan received word that the village had released the 19 child slaves. On subsequent trips, a much-needed social worker was hired for the school to help the newly freed children adjust to their new lives, and a teacher's residence was funded and built to help retain teachers in the village.
I'm glad we had a chance to meet you, and now we can become friends.
Here in America, Evan Robbins is creating thoughtful, caring global citizens, all determined to make a better world. They're starting in Ghana, and they won't stop until every child is free.
Ladies and gentlemen, Evan Robbins.
Thank you, New Jersey. I'd like to start off by saying how humbled I am to be among such distinguished award winners. I wish to thank the National Education Association for this great honor. I now ask you to join me in the mission to eradicate child trafficking In 2010, I went on a rescue mission where we were able to persuade a fisherman to release 2 of the trafficked children that he owned. There was one little boy, Joshua, whom the fisherman's wife refused to release because the bride price for Joshua's mother had not been paid. We spent the day with the fisherman and tried to convince him to let Joshua go. After 8 hours, we were unable to convince him and had to drop Joshua off to continue his life of bondage. Walking away from Joshua that day was one of the hardest things I've ever done. I did not forget about Joshua, and I am so happy to tell you that 1 year later, he was rescued. I returned to Ghana in 2012 and was able to visit him, now free and living with a loving foster family. Once we saw each other, Joshua jumped into my arms and almost knocked me over. It was one of the most emotional moments of my life. I have 2 daughters, and I consider Joshua to be the son I never had. I have a simple message. No child should be sold. Every child should be in school, living with the family, and have their basic physical and emotional needs met. Please help me make this a reality. Once again, thank you to the NEA, thank you to Reg Weaver, and thank you, New Jersey.